All right, welcome back to our study in the purpose of Proverbs, looking at chapter 1, verses 1 through 6. Today we're talking about receiving instruction. That's what this book does. That's the purpose of this book, is for us to receive instructions. First instruction on wise dealing. So Solomon talks about this. In the NASB, it says wise behavior. It could also be translated as prudence. Looking at the next three ideas that follow, it seems that this instruction in wise dealing has to do with how to act before and toward other people. Many of the Proverbs address our outward behavior towards others. One of my favorite couplets in the book is Proverbs 26, 4 through 5, which says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." These are very practical instructions on how to have wise dealings with fools. So we'll find many more of these throughout the book. And that's what, so you have wise dealing, how to deal with these people. If they're a fool, if they're bloodthirsty, if they're an adulterous woman, how do you deal with the people that you run into like this? Well, the Bible tells you. It tells you exactly what to do. And so you don't have to make stuff up. You don't have to guess or wonder. It's already been written down for you. Amazing, isn't it? You know, a lot of Christians go throughout their life and they think, I don't know what to do. I'm just looking for the will of God. He wrote it down. It's down in the pages. Just follow what it says. But again, that would be too easy, I guess, apparently. But, so we get wise dealing in here. We receive instruction on wise dealing. We also receive instructions on righteousness. So instruction is found over and over again in this book on how to live a righteous or right life. Proverbs teaches us the way to live that conforms to God's standard of goodness and holiness. One example is found in this chapter. In verse 10, it says, "My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent." So if the unrighteous want you to do something, then you say no, and don't consent to it. Obvious, hopefully, but necessary to be taught, right? So the next one is justice. So justice is the next one. So there is a need for political justice, which is talking about. Proverbs 8:15 says, "By me kings reign and rulers decree what is just." So wisdom says that. Wisdom says it's by me that they reign, and rulers decree what is just. So if they listen to me in wisdom, then they'll do that. And so we'll hear instructions on how government ought to behave. That's what there's a number of Proverbs that are about the government and about who those who are in charge. There's also about the judiciary. If you look at Proverbs 17:23, it talks about how people are to behave in the courtroom. So we've instructed on bribery and partiality, not to be that way. Also, we find the need for credible witnesses in Proverbs 19:28. So if you want to know how we ought to act toward the government and how those who are in office ought to act, then you'll find that in the book. Okay, so that's the purpose of the book, is to teach you what justice really is. Now, we've had, the last several years, people telling us what justice is and what justice isn't according to them. But how many people have you heard going back to Proverbs and quoting that? Not too many. I haven't heard. Some people might go back to the book of Romans, which is a great place, but we forgot about the book of Proverbs, which is a wealth of material on being credible and judging correctly, and what kings, what rulers, magistrates are supposed to be doing, and how they're supposed to act morally. And it says that right there in the book, right in black and white. So you can go read it. But a lot of Christians have forgotten about that, I think. So that wasn't just for then, right? It's for all people. Next one is equity. Yes, the Bible is about equity. The word seems to have been hijacked lately in our culture, and they think that the world has come up with this idea of ethics of equity. But it's as old as the Ancient of Days, right? God has equity in his mind. So in Proverbs, this word is applied to having equitable speech, or that which comes out of your mouth is true and you mean what you say. That's the equitableness of your life. So Proverbs 23:16 is an example where it says, "My inmost being will exalt you when your lips speak what is right." So, or equitable, as it's the same word there. Now, Jesus taught a proverb on this himself. He said, "Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil." Now that we know what we can learn from this book, the prologue tells us who this book is useful for. And we're going to learn about two main groups, but the first is also divided into two. So when we come back next time, we'll begin to look at that. So that's the plan. And I'll see you here, and we'll talk about knowledge, that this book gives us knowledge.